about to start. Wow. I am truly overwhelmed, especially a last-minute change of location after a summer of a drought and, of course, the one day we get rain. Thank you. I'm truly in a good and powerful way. I am overwhelmed. This is amazing. Thank you, and welcome. Welcome to our 6th annual Candlelight Vigil of Hope and Remembrance. My name is Lindsay. I am a member of Rockland CARES, and I grew up here in Rockland. I'm incredibly honored to be emceeing and hosting you tonight. This event is very special to me. What a sad year. What an extraordinarily sad, difficult, and heartbreaking year it's been for our town. It feels like almost weekly we're hearing about one of our own passing away. Someone's brother, someone's daughter, somebody's best friend. I'm sad and I'm angry as I continue to stand in line at yet again another wake for someone I know. The visitors wrap around the building, spill out onto the streets. I see familiar faces, and we say the same thing as we did last time. Not again. Not them. Because to be honest, as I stand in these lines, I can't help but think, there but for the grace of God go I. There but for the grace of God go I. That could mean me. Why not? No, I've never been an addict myself. I've loved addicts, and I've lost addicts. But that doesn't mean it couldn't have been me. I hung out in some of the same circles, went to the same parties, I was educated by the same schools, raised in the same neighborhoods. I've certainly made my fair share of poor decisions and bad choices in my life. But just somewhere along that path, they took a slightly different turn. Who even knows where or when? It was probably a turn so minor in the road at the time that no one even paid attention. I've known many addicts in my life, and I have yet to meet one who is not worthy of love and happiness, just like everyone else, despite their addiction. They're good people. They were, and they are, funny, kind, intelligent, good, and worthy people. I know addiction isn't a new problem, it's been around, and I get that. But talking about it is new. And talking about it is part of the solution. A couple of months ago, I spoke at a town selectmen meeting here in Rockland with another committee member. We were just giving an update on our progress and our goals. And when I started to talk about why I do this, because I lost a cousin to this disease, and it broke my family, and because I'm watching my generation die one by one. When I started to talk about that, I began to cry in front of the selectmen, on television, and I was crying a lot. It caught me by surprise, and I apologized, and I was so embarrassed that I had become emotional. I kept thinking, I'm supposed to keep it together, you know? Stay composed and professional. That's why I'm here. I'm a sensible person. I can't get emotional. And I just kept apologizing. And then people said to me, Lindsay, never be embarrassed about your emotions. Addiction is an emotional topic, and you've shown people they're not alone in their emotions. And they were right. Shame on me for being ashamed. It's like I've gotten so caught up in reporting the facts and our goals and our progress that I'd almost forgotten what it's all about. But this is why we're here tonight. And why we do what we do. Because we all miss and love those funny, caring, smart, and good people that were taken from us. And we all want to help those people still struggling and encourage those in recovery. We're not alone. I'm not alone. You're not alone. And so that's what I hope for tonight. I hope that after hearing testimonies and the beautiful music and lighting your candles, that you'll feel the support from friends and family and strangers that are around you, and you'll know you're not alone. We're Rockland, right? We mourn together. We get angry together. We celebrate together. And we have hope together. We're Rockland. We're in this together. So we have a really inspiring night for you, and I'm really excited to introduce our speakers and our singers. So we'll get started. And our first speaker is a school committee member and a community member. And the schools in general have been really supportive of us, and they've been great partners along with the Biggins family. So please join me in welcoming Dan Biggins.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you to the people of Rockland CARES. It truly humbles me and honors me to be able to stand here in front of you today to share some of my feelings from some of my unique perspectives. For 30 years, my dad and I have been entrusted for caring for your families during their times of heartache and grief. It has been the highest honor to have had the opportunity to celebrate life while to help you care for your dead. Over the last decade, however, my dad and I's work has changed. In ever-increasing frequency, we have had the terrible burden of bearing witness to one of the worst kinds of human suffering. The acute and unbearable pain of parents who have lost their child. The empty stares of siblings trying to make sense of how they will no longer have their brothers and sisters to spend their days with. The visceral grief and the visceral fear of a young mother or father as they wonder how they will go on without their spouse to help them in raising their children. My dad and I long for a day that comes with the end of all that suffering. We long for a day when this terrible epidemic will stop taking our friends and stop taking our neighbors from us. Every day we ask ourselves, what can we do? What can we do to help our community? What can we do to help them get through this awful battle that we all are fighting together? One of the things that we've talked about is reaching out and being able to tell our stories and not being afraid to talk about it. And another way is to educate. I'm proud to announce tonight that our firm, in partnership with Rockland Public Schools and with Rockland CARES, are going to be welcoming Massachusetts basketball star Chris Herron to Rockland Public Schools this coming January to share his message of hope and education about addiction with our town school children. If it reaches even one of them, we hope that indeed it will have been worth it. From the perspective as a school committee member here at Rockland Public Schools, I'm here to tell you that there is a whole host of people within the walls of Rockland Public Schools that love and care for you, their former students. The tragic losses of our community's battle with opiate addiction have rattled teachers, guidance counselors, administration, staff, and co-students to their cores. We in Rockland schools have the highest of hopes and dreams for all of our students. When one of our students dies, our hopes and dreams for their futures dies along with them. Could they have been doctors, teachers, artists, musicians, moms, or dads? The world will never know the gifts they could have given to humanity. On behalf of Rockland Public Schools, let me say we are all here to help. All those folks you remember from school, the teachers, the guidance counselors, the coaches, we're all here to help. We all want you to be happy, healthy, and successful. Sometimes it may be hard to see. Sometimes you feel this journey is walked alone. But all these people right here together in Holy Family Church tonight are willing to help. All you have to do is ask. If it's hard to believe, just look around. For the 6th year now, your friends, your families, your neighbors, your teachers, your police, your fire department, and complete strangers alike have gathered here to tell you that they love you and you are important to us. The organizers of Rockland CARES have dedicated their time, resources, and talents all year long to help those fighting a good fight against opiate addiction. The group calls itself Rockland CARES, as you know, and it's a great name because they do, and we do, care. We are not going to give up on telling you we care. We are not going to give up on telling you we love you. We are not going to give up, and we are not going to give up this fight along with you. We are not going to give up on you. We all, everyone here, want to help. Nobody can do it alone. As individuals, we will fail. Together, we will be victorious. Together, we will end heroin's grip on this community. Together, we will make Rockland a better place. Yes, folks, Rockland indeed cares. God bless you, and God bless Rockland. Thank you for listening.
Okay, we have our first song of the night. This is the 3rd year that we have Jennifer. 3 years ago, we had a last-minute cancellation, and we were scrambling, I think, like 2 hours before, and I said, I know somebody with a beautiful voice. And she came, and I think she had a paying gig that she left, and she came here, and she's been part of us ever since. So we are so, so grateful. This is Jennifer Kirby, and she is singing an original song that she has written herself.
Hi. Thanks for having me again. Thanks, Lindsay. Thank you to everybody here and everybody with Rockland CARES. It's been such a profound experience each year just to be a part of this, and happy to sing for you again. And I really wanted last year to write a song, and I don't know, I couldn't, nothing came. And then this year, we lost my cousin Jackie to heroin addiction this year. And, our hearts are broken, and I'm just so glad that you guys all came into my life, and I feel supported and loved, and I wish she was here right now, and maybe she is. When you're down on the ground and you're broken, trying to pick yourself up once again, you seek out how on earth can I do this?
and I think she's proud. Okay, our next speaker is someone I had the privilege of getting introduced to last week at our Rockland CARES meeting. He is someone who is in recovery, and he's also been helping others in recovery for a really long time. Please welcome Pat.
Everybody, I'm Patrick Cronin. I'm a person in long-term recovery. God willing, a day at a time. Next month I'll be celebrating 11 years in recovery. So I know it's an honor and a privilege to be able to speak anywhere. Even an event like this, sometimes people see it as sad and gloomy. But I had the honor to be able to speak in Marshville last night as well. And I thought that was the biggest vigil I'd ever been to until I just walked in these doors. So clearly Rockland does care. And I said last night that even though these vigils can be looked at as sad, I try to look at it as celebrating their life. What they always were, the kind and loving people that are near and dear to my heart. I always call addicts and alcoholics my people because they're my people. And I also know that there's families in this room right now that haven't lost someone, but thinks that they are going to lose them. And that's who I really hope that I hit as well tonight, is that I'm a recovering heroin addict, a recovering OxyContin addict, and there is hope. We do recover. And I just want families out there to know that please don't stop praying for your loved ones out there, because my parents planned my funeral for 6 years while I destroyed my life. And I remember walking through the house, walking by their room every single night to go to mine. Clearly I was not doing well. And they were both on their knees side by side, praying. And they were praying for me. There's no doubt in my mind. At that point, when I would want to look at them and cry, I couldn't, because I had no emotions. Because, when you're using alcohol and drugs the way that I was, you have no feelings. Speaking at this vigil in particular, when I was asked to speak at this vigil, it means a lot too, because I lost one of my closest friends in recovery last year from this town, Luke Leonard, and I said I wasn't going to do this. He was probably one of the closest friends I had in recovery that I lost. And he had been sober for a very long time, the longest he'd ever been sober. So I think a lot of people sometimes think that people just die when they're out there using a lot, and that's not the case. Sometimes we lose a lot of people that have been sober for a while, and one bad decision can cost them their life. But when I think of someone like Luke, when I heard the MC saying "funny," I mean, if you knew this kid, he was just the best. He was the best kid in the world. And I have a 4th of July party that I do every year at my house to show people in recovery that you can have fun sober. And he died about a week after my party last year, and that's the last time I ever saw him, was at that party. And this year at the party, though it wasn't the same, it just speaks to the character of addicts and alcoholics, because we talked about him like the whole party, how it just wasn't the same without him. So when I got asked to speak here, like I said, it's an honor to be able to speak anywhere, but to be able to come somewhere like this. And to lose someone like that last year, that was so important to me, it meant even more to come to this vigil and be able to speak. like I said, I'm blessed today. How long I've been sober really doesn't matter because I'm one bad decision away, and I said that last night too. Some people that might not understand how addiction works, this is an everyday process for me. One of the reasons why I'm here. And I had asked, David, I said, can you try to get me to speak as early as you can, because I have to go to a meeting after this. Because I need to stay sober, so I'll go right from here to a meeting, because I'm not willing to let the amazing things that have happened to me over the past 10 years, I'm not willing to give that up for anything, like nothing. If I have to drive here, to drive here, to drive here, and do this and that, and then still end up in a meeting so I can be okay for myself and try to help other people, that's the only way that's the only way it's ever worked that I've actually seen it work. So I don't want to throw that out the window. But being in places like this, it's so important. I could talk about the gifts that have come my way for days and days, because one minute I think I have a gift, and then the next minute I forget I had it because I have another one, and it's just continuously people telling you how good your life is when you get sober. And I'll end with this because I know there's a lot of speakers. A lot of people in this room I've worked with, and a lot of it was from the previous job I had working at MORE, the Mass Organization for Addiction Recovery. And I can tell you that the reason why things have changed in this state, and things have changed policy-wise, and why this room is filled like this, is because of you. It's because of what you've done. It's because of the constant times that you showed up at the State House with me, banging on state reps' doors saying, we're not going to take this anymore. So everything that you've done is the reason why that it's changed. I can tell you, like I said last night, 10 years ago when I got sober, this wasn't happening. Though the stigma is still there, I don't know if it will ever be completely removed. But I can tell you 10 years ago when I got sober, if I was overdosed on the ground, people would step over me. I don't see that happening today. We don't have everybody where we want them to be, but I can tell you from seeing reps and school committees in law enforcement, I said last night, the fact that I work for law enforcement blows my mind, because they were chasing me for a long time. The ones that really deserve credit out there. I got the privilege to be able to come to another opportunity. I got sober in Quincy. That's where my recovery is. I owe my life to Quincy very much. And I got blessed with an opportunity 6 months ago to help start a new treatment center in Quincy. And I still had to think about it because I really loved the job that I did. But when I really thought about it, and I said, don't be fearful. This is a positive thing. It's a step up in the right direction. You can actually help start what's so needed. Like, we're never going to have enough beds. We come out with 100 beds, we still say there's not enough. We come out with 200 beds, there's still not enough. So for me to have an opportunity to pretty much be in my home where I got sober and help open up another treatment center, that's just proof right there, how unbelievable recovery is. So, like I said, I'm here to celebrate tonight the ones that we lost, not to mourn. And I'm also to show, people out there. And I know that there's people like me in this room right now that might be struggling. So keep your head up, ask for help. If you want my number, just come up and ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. I say it all the time. Hope is possible. So now we're going to hear from someone personally affected by addiction as well, but in a different way. Please, this is not easy being up here, so give a warm welcome to Paula.
For First, I'd like to thank you all for coming, and to Rockland CARES for having this vigil tonight to remember the many who have lost their lives to substance use disorder. My story is very familiar and has been told many times by so many people before me, but unfortunately too many more to come. But the big difference is, it was my baby boy that succumbed to the disease of addiction almost 2.5 years ago. I have 2 children, a daughter and a son. They were both raised exactly the same way. They both had my immeasurable and unconditional love. Grandparents, aunts, uncles that loved them. They both went to the same schools, and they both were involved with the DARE program. But my daughter never touched drugs, smoked cigarettes, or drank. She would often say to me, "I don't get it, Mom. How did this happen?" My son Joe battled addiction for 10 plus years, but it didn't start from a sport injury or a dental procedure. He did play in many sports growing up: taekwondo, Pop Warner football, basketball, baseball, guitar lessons, wrestling, and was great at all of them. Well, not so much baseball because he was literally in the left field. He was not a leader, he was a follower. From the time he was a little guy, he always craved attention, so I guess it shouldn't have surprised me that he would have done anything to get attention from his peers. I can still hear him saying, "Mom, Ma, Mommy, Mama, Ma," even as an adult. He had a girlfriend that he was crazy about and would have jumped off a bridge if she wanted him to. To this day, I feel like he was trying to match the love he had for her, but never found that love again. They decided to try OxyContin together, and that was the beginning of the end. Eventually, he turned to heroin, and his life rapidly spiraled out of control. I don't know where they got it, but I clearly remember him going to a doctor down the Cape and would complain of a backache and walk out with a script for Oxys. Joe was meticulous on the outside. He looked like he had it all together. He always had to have his hair perfect, his eyebrows perfect, the clothes and shoes he wore had to be perfect, but he carried around an inner uncertainty. He wanted people to like him. He wanted to fit in. He wasn't happy with who he was, and to me, that person was a strong-willed, funny, charming, loving, caring boy with a thunderous laugh. He always felt awkward and self-conscious around his relatives for fear that they were calling him a loser behind his back. He wasn't comfortable in his own skin. It wasn't until after he died that I read his journal and saw just how much he disliked himself. I hope he's not upset at me for looking at it. It took me a while to realize that he was showing signs of drug abuse. I watched him transform from a cute, good-humored boy to a teenager that was in and out of trouble, unable to hold down a job, was losing weight, slept all day, and was up all night. He became irritated very easily and had lost all his motivation. It was at that time that I decided I needed to educate myself and find out how I could help him. That's when I found the group Learn to Cope and knew that he needed to get into treatment. He was in and out of many detoxes, rehabs, and halfway houses, and eventually was able to put together 2.5 years of sobriety. Within that time, he did what he needed to maintain his recovery. He told me he had a fire in his belly, this time to stay clean. He had Hep C and completed 6 months of interferon and showed no traces of it in his system. He cleaned up his debts, paid off all his outstanding bills, rebuilt his credit, bought a car, and was saving money. I had my son back. He was doing so well, I thought it was time for him to move out and get on with his life. This is where I blame myself. I'm not quite sure what happened, but he started showing signs of depression. Again, we were back to square one and had to find a place for him to go. But he had to want to get help. When he was finally ready, he had called several places and could not find a bed. This went on for a couple of weeks. I will never forget the day he had called the facility on a Saturday and was turned away because he had private insurance. I grabbed the phone from him and said, "You're not serious. He's finally ready and you're turning him away because of his insurance? What if something happens?" and the response back to me was, "Take him to the emergency room." I was never so mad. He had 8 or 9 relapses within a year, the summer before he passed. He wanted to do so much with his life. He wanted to become an entrepreneur, he wanted to own property, he wanted to travel, but it wasn't happening fast enough for him, and he would get discouraged. He lost all hope because he thought his disease was preventing him from achieving his goals, and because of that, he became more and more depressed. After each relapse, I could see the guilt and depression that he was feeling because he had disappointed me again. I really wish he didn't feel that way, but that was part of his addiction. I spent a lot of time trying to educate myself by reading books from the addict's perspective and also from the parent's perspective. So I felt that I had a pretty good understanding enough to know the grips of addiction is very powerful. It may take several attempts before acquiring sobriety. Eventually, after losing a huge savings account that he worked so hard to rebuild and falling behind on his bills again, he moved into a sober house, which wasn't what I wanted for him, but we all know that we can't force our children to do something they don't want to do. He was working as a window salesman and he loved his job. We always argued about it because I wanted him to work somewhere that he could get a consistent paycheck instead of one that was commission-based. He thought I was being negative, but I just didn't want to see him struggle financially, which could possibly make him relapse. That's what we do. We try to protect our children from harm's way. Needless to say, he put his job before his recovery and wasn't going to meetings anymore and doing the right thing anymore. I never saw that fire in his belly again. I would tell him on a daily basis that I loved him so much and didn't want to lose him. His response to me was, "I'm only here because of you, Mom. If anything ever happened to you, I would kill myself." It broke my heart to hear him say that. He hated what his disease was doing to me and wanted more than anything to stop. He regretted the day he made the bad decision that led him to years of heroin use. He always used to repeat a phrase from the big book to me. Frothy emotional appeal seldom suffices. And what that means is that no matter how much I loved him, that wasn't going to keep him sober. It took me a while to understand that. He told me that he didn't want to be a 30-year-old drug addict. Well, 2.5 months before his 30th birthday, he got his wish. My handsome son died in a sober house from a fentanyl-laced heroin overdose. Every single day I have a battle between my head and my heart. My heart wants him back so badly. My head tells me that he's not struggling anymore and that I shouldn't be selfish. I know the love he had for me was so unconditional and genuine. He was always so worried about me. Through all the craziness of his addiction, he never failed to tell me or show me how much he loved me. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to tell your addicted loved ones how much you love them on a daily basis, because you never know when you'll get that dreaded phone call that will change your life forever. I believe addiction is part biological and part environmental. You never know who it will affect. I look at my granddaughters and ask myself, which one, if any, could have the addictive gene? Which one, if any, will give in to peer pressure and carelessly make a life-altering decision to use drugs? That is why I'm a strong believer in educating parents, caretakers, teachers, doctors, and guidance counselors to be aware of the early warning signs of anxiety, depression, low self-worth, and social awkwardness before the children get to high school when it may be too late. It should be everyone's goal to end the stigma and to raise awareness so that hopefully soon we will stop losing our loved ones on a daily basis. But it is also equally important never to forget all the precious people that have gone too soon and their families that have to go on living without them because their lives matter. And if I could, I would like to read a poem that my son wrote 9 years to the day he passed away. It's called Goodbye Opiates. God, please lead me in the right direction. Please get rid of this obsession, for running only gets me more tired. Like spoiled milk, the dope games expired. So expensive for such low living, I'm so sick of giving to this oblivion. This disease of addiction has to fall back. In order for that, I have to stack the facts. Painkillers only make the pain stiller in the end. I'm sick of the dealer being my friend. Every morning I open my eyes just to feel the demons inside. As much as I wanted to die, I tried and tried. I muscled and hustled just to get high. No one told me getting high was such a low ride. Depression, anxiety, pain all within. Only if suicide wasn't a sin. Too strong to take an easy way out. My image changed from what I was about. Give me my life back and I promise to stop. Sick of my priority to be just one more cop. Looking over my shoulder, not to get caught. I'm trying to run when it hurts to walk. It's been a minute since the last pill was crushed. Thinking to myself for just one more rush. One is too many, 1,000's never enough. Back in the cycle, now I'm stuck. Section 35 is not just good luck. Some say it's rough, I say tough love. Goodbye to the devil's little men. I'll crush you with the 12 steps as soon as I can. I'll miss getting jammed, but not feeling sick. It is not recreational use for the drug I have picked. From synthetic to organic, all the same. Opiates are all not a fair game. You laugh and you fool with your friends at first, until someone ends up dead in a hearse. You see your boy lay still cold as a rock. Next thing you know, everyone's dead on the block. Life is too short to leave it like this. Reality hits you like a metaphorical fist. Is instant gratification worth a world full of hurt? I beg to differ, then the sensation is worse. Learn the hardest way known to man, but I am learning the best way that I can. What does not kill me only makes me strong. I will not suffer no more, I have suffered too long. So farewell to the endless agonizing pain. No more sickness to drive me insane. You almost got me this time, but not quite. My mind is mine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being brave. We have another song from Jennifer singing, I Am Light.
Hello again, thank you. I am light.
through our program, and I hope that so far you're understanding what the night is about, that you're not alone, that there is hope. If you haven't already, before you leave, there are some resource tables and some information. It's there for assistance and for people who really need them. We really appreciate them being here tonight. Rockland CARES also has a table. I just want to quickly give you some background and an overview on Rockland CARES. I really won't take up much time because I do want to get back to the speakers and the songs. But I think it's important that people know a bit about our committee. So Rockland CARES is a group of volunteers. The CARES stands for Community Awareness, Resources, Education, and Support. Our mission is to provide addiction support, prevention, and education to the community of Rockland. So we're not a support group. We do have access to support groups, but we're just a volunteer group. We take action, we work hard. We meet twice a month, sometimes more, and we talk about ideas to integrate addiction education into the community, the schools, the police, and then we execute those ideas. The schools and the police department have been amazing partners. They're so open and they're helpful. People can say all they want, all the negative things they want about the police department, but I have seen firsthand how committed and concerned they are, and I will defend them till the end. Some of the things that we've done as a committee include setting up information tables at parent conferences. We held a logo contest with our high school students, so the logo that you see on our shirts was created by a high school student. We displayed that logo at the Arts Festival last year, and we had a table again this year at the Arts Festival. We're actually next week right in the schools, again doing Sports Smart. So we talk to student athletes about concussions and the dangers of prescription pills. So those are just a few. I could name a lot of things that we do, but that's just to name a few things. It's a commitment, but it's a really fun group. And they're like my second family. When I cried at the selectmen meeting, I had my mom and my sister saying, "Oh my God, I just wanted to give you a hug." And I said, "Don't worry, my Rockland CARES family was there and they gave me a hug." We come from all different backgrounds and we're all ages, and we always welcome people to come. Like I said, it's a commitment and it's hard work, but please, I urge you to go to our Facebook page, to go to rocklandcares.org and check us out. I will leave you with this about Rockland CARES. I have done a lot of things in my life. I am young, yes, I know. But when it comes to nonprofits and volunteering, I've accomplished a lot. I work in nonprofit, that's what I do for a living. So I've helped a lot of people through my work. And I do not tell you that to toot my own horn by any means, not at all. But I tell you this so that you'll understand of all these things that I've done, of all of these things, Rockland CARES is what I'm most proud of. Being on this committee is what I'm most proud of. And tonight I am honored to be standing in front of you, but I'm only representing an entire committee of dedicated people who have full-time jobs, many have many other commitments, but they work tirelessly with Rockland CARES. So really quick, because they deserve a shout out, I want every committee member to raise their hand when I say their name. Tricia Fallon, Officer Brian McDonald, David Alexander, Helen Alexander, Kristen Basford, Katie Wexler, Gail Murphy, Mike Mullen. Because of people and their dedication and hard work, this vigil was able to happen tonight. So thank you to my Rockland CARES family. Our next speaker is someone who has become part of our Rockland CARES family. She is someone I've gotten to know on a personal level, and I can honestly and sincerely say I am in awe of her strength. Please join me in welcoming Leanne.
Hi, my name is Leanne Shea. I have lived in Rockland for 21 years. I am not a public speaker, but I know my son is giving me the strength to do this. My oldest son, Matt, who shares the same birthday as me, lost his battle with addiction. It took his life on October 23rd, 2015. He was 30 years old. It was the worst day of our lives. The loss of a child is devastating, and our lives will never be the same. I speak often of my son. I miss everything about him. Simple things like his laugh, his smile. I miss hearing him call me Mom, but mostly, I miss his presence here on earth, knowing I will never see him again. It's just so sad. He is in my heart and in my thoughts daily. We all love and miss him so much. He was a really great guy. I personally always said he was the man. He was also a brother to Jill and Scott, and an uncle to Anthony. Anthony loved his Uncle Matt. We are all grateful and thankful for 30 great years and memories he gave us. My husband and I are heartbroken to have lost our son to this horrific epidemic. Our town has lost a lot of young, good people. My heart goes out to all who have lost a child or a loved one to addiction. To all those struggling to get clean and are clean, keep going. Your lives matter. You should be proud of yourselves. God bless you all. Lastly, I just want to thank all my family and friends and co-workers for all their love and support, for coming here tonight to honor our son Matt, and to Rockland CARES for all you do. Thank you.
One more time for Leanne is not easy. Our next and final speaker is somebody I grew up with, a fellow Rockland High graduate. Someone who has felt passionate about sharing her family's story in order to help others. And because of brave people like her, we will end the stigma. Please welcome Liz.
Thank you everyone for coming out and supporting a powerful event and a strong community. I was asked to speak to you today, and to be honest, I was instantly terrified. And it also doesn't help that I am 9 months pregnant, so bear with me as I navigate these hormones. When I was first approached to speak about the sibling stigma of addiction, I instantly wanted to politely decline. Then I slept on it, and I realized that the stigma is declining, and not me, so here I am. My name is Liz, and I'm a Rockland lifer at this point, as my expanding family just bought a house in Rockland. I am a graduate of Rockland High School, class of 2001, and I see my children receiving their education within this powerful community. I have one older sibling who graduated here as well in 1999. He proudly paraded the street, Union Street, with a police escort alongside his teammates after many athletic victories. He was prom king, Mr. Rockland nominee, and he is my brother, and he is an addict. We were both blessed to be raised in a loving home with an involved mother. We spent our childhood knowing nothing beyond dare about addiction. I followed him to Springfield for my undergraduate degree because I wanted the security of my brother. He was always someone that protected me, he guided me, and he was always an admirable example. I would always be so proud to be associated with him and to be known as his sister. And we became adults, and then that began to change. Learning of his addiction was very hard for us. It wasn't what he was taught, it wasn't how we were raised, and it wasn't the example we were given. Slowly, the opportunities and advantages in life began to slip away from him. His addiction reared its ugly head when he was in his early 20s and quickly spiraled out of control. We had no idea what the next 12 or so years would hold. I had no idea the depths of addiction. I had no clue how I would see someone I knew so well transformed so fast into a stranger. I had no idea how painful it would be to stand hopeless as your hero became a lost soul to this epidemic. They say addicts need to hit their rock bottom. They say you need to practice tough love. I wouldn't say I agree. I witnessed firsthand how low a rock bottom would be. I watched my mother desperately beg a judge to section him. I worked with the police in any effort to arrest him. I've received calls from every county jail in this state. In my own desperation to do what I thought would save him, I compromised my own morals. All those attempts were failed. His addiction always won. He used to be in the newspaper for his achievements, mostly athletic because he was born with the ball in his hands. But the first time the paper reported his desperate efforts to stay high, I wanted to hide under a rock. The secret would be out and everyone would know that my brother was an addict. The first few times this happened, I felt the need to forewarn people. What would people think of me? How would they judge my family? It instantly became a huge insecurity, and I struggled with detaching from his choices. In such a small, tight-knit community, this would never happen, and it took me a long time, probably way too long, to accept this. The stigma of loving an addict is a powerful thing. It took me a while to truly grasp that power. I'm still navigating through that. Yes, my brother is a heroin addict. Yes, he has done embarrassing, shameful things. But he is still my brother, my only sibling, the kid who beat me in every Easter egg hunt, the guy I followed to college, my first friend, and my biggest role model. My heart had always believed that that guy, that big gentle giant, is still here, and maybe it will be this time that he beats the addiction. With each relapse, I got better at detaching, stronger at facing the stigma. I accepted that he is an addict. In fact, I'm an addict. I've just never used. My theory is we're all addicts, and some of them have not used, and I'm a part of that some. Opiates are something powerful, with the ability to transform who you are, your roots, your boundaries, your reputation and goals. But it is something I will not allow to take my love. His addiction may force me to create boundaries and limits within our relationship, but will not force me to love him differently. Whether he is in a rehab, a jail, or beside me, he will always be my brother. I will not be tied down by the stigma it creates, because in the end, that gives addiction power. I will, however, fight for people to become more and more educated early. The next generation will be faced with the same challenges of addiction. The little kids that we watch today, this baby that I feel kick in my belly, they will all be faced with the unimaginable possibilities that addiction is real. And that makes me want to fight harder. My brother was that sweet, precious baby, a teenager with a promising future ahead of him. I put my strength and energy focusing on the younger generations to help educate them. The more they understand what addiction can do, the hope is better off that they will be when they're faced with the decision to try drugs. It is very likely that my brother will spend his entire life being an addict, and I will spend mine as the sibling of an addict. I have made the decision to not hide under a rock. Rather, I will stand in front of my community and do my part in ending a stigma. Loving an addict does not mean you are an enabler. It does not mean you should be judged. Loving an addict is giving the addict hope and giving yourself that same hope. Hope that they can overcome this disease and be part of ending the stigma themselves. Addiction is an unpredictable journey. I can't say with confidence, where this journey will take him, and I can't say for sure where it will take me. But I can say with full certainty, it will never take my love for him. I can say that I will make sure my voice is heard, and I will everything I can do to help others avoid becoming an addict. Starting with early intervention and putting my vote behind candidates who share the same passion. While we work to become a sturdier society with facing addiction, I ask that when you see an addict, you see beyond the desperation. You see the hurting family that is behind them. You see a human who is struggling. Nobody wakes up one day and says, "Today is the day I give it all up to be high." That is not how addiction plays out. I pray that today is the day an addict will wake up and says, "Today is the day I don't get high." And one by one, we as a community regain hopes that this epidemic will end. Our secrets keep them sick. The more we talk about it, the more people will start to understand, and that only makes us stronger. Thank you again for allowing me to share our story. This is our reality, the reality of many of my classmates and neighbors, and the reality of my generation. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our speakers tonight for sharing your stories. So we have a new tradition that began last year to end our vigil. We've put together a tribute video that includes photos of those from the South Shore who have passed away from addiction. Many of them Rockland residents. Many people we love. As I said at the beginning, this has been an incredibly sad year. So this video has only grown, and more pictures have been added since last year. And keep in mind, these are only photos we've received. There are far more people losing their lives who aren't even included in here. This video is difficult, it's sad, it's sobering, but it's beautiful. Thank you. all of our families who have shared. They're funny, smart, and wonderful people with us. Thank you. Now Jen is going to lead us in Amazing Grace, and we are actually going to head outside. We have some volunteers that have some candles for you, and we're going to light our candles for everybody to see as we sing Amazing Grace. So please.
Courage to meet the days ahead in grace and in love and in patience, and most especially with hope. Amen. And now, Jennifer.